What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of Miss the Bus podcast. This is one of our movie reviews. We're going to be talking about the brand new Mission Impossible Fallout.
I could just do that all day long, honestly.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so this is going to be our review of that movie. We all saw it yesterday. I'm super excited to talk about it. Before we get into it, if you like what we do, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search Miss the Bus. You can find us basically the same way on Google Play Store, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Please go bump our YouTube because nobody goes on there. We need more views.
Come on, bring us more love.
Bailey's reeling them in, but
Dude,
we
I'm
need
honestly
more help.
Just constantly commenting on stuff with people back and forth, and it's so entertaining. Like,
Really
I find
is.
so much enjoyment out of it at this point, so.
And as always, email the Spotify guy. Tell him that you are displeased that he won't put us on there. On social medias, you can find us on Twitter at Miss the Bus Pod. Facebook, just search Miss the Bus. We have an Instagram now. It's going really well. Miss the Bus Pod. We post a lot of cool pictures. You can see how beautiful we all are.
And Tom Cruise, because I think that's the only other person right now.
Is that the only other person?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll steal a lot of images from Google Images and just put them all over
For sure.
there. And claim them as our own. Don't sue us. All right, but yeah, so like I said, we're going to review the movie. We're going to start off spoiler free. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, you can listen to the first 10 or so minutes. We're just going to kind of get into it, let you know if you should see it, if it's for you or not. And then if you haven't seen it, we do encourage you to jump off. About the 10-minute mark, we'll let you know. Because this movie definitely should not be spoiled. It's so
yeah.
I thought you were
100%.
about to go for a pun, like jump off the...
I thought you were just going to stop at jump off. I'm like, what the
Just
hell
jump
are people
off.
jumping
Goodbye,
off
people.
of? Bye.
All right, so we're going to jump into it. A little bit about this movie. Why am I on Kevin Smith's IMDb instead of the one I wanted to be on? That makes no sense.
I don't even know how that connected
I don't know.
between that and Mission Impossible.
And Mission. All right, so this is Mission Impossible Fallout. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Is that how we say his name? McQuarrie. Is also written by the same guy, Christopher McQuarrie, and Bruce Geller, based on a television series. I did not know that. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
I remember, like, of all the movies that we've watched, I'm sure they say it in all of them, but when we watched the new one is when I finally saw it says that at the end.
Yeah.
Because Mission Impossible was a television series.
Yeah,
it
it was in like the 60s.
Yeah.
That's when it started, and then they birthed these movies.
They
from
birthed
that.
them.
Conceived.
Oh,
Conceived these movies.
And then-
They were.
Yeah.
Starring Tom Cruise, Henry Cavill, Ving Rhames, and see full cast and crew. We'll get into them later. But yeah, basically synopsis: Ethan and team take on their most impossible mission yet, eradicating the Syndicate, an international rogue organization as highly skilled as they are, committed to destroying the IMF. All right, so what did you guys think of Rogue Nation? Of fucking Fallout.
Jeez. Wrong one.
That's a good start. I'll go first, I
Go.
guess. Yeah. Plot, excellent. Music, excellent. Everything, honestly, excellent. Tom Cruise, excellent. Henry Cavill, excellent, dude. And I know we were just talking about this. Henry Cavill, to me, prior to this movie, was one of the most... I'm not going to say the most, because he's kind of popular now or whatever, but I just feel like he was really underrated as an actor.
Just like in general. I
Yeah,
totally
just in
agree
general,
with
and
that.
Man of Steel, and Immortals, and what's it called?
Freaking Immortals, bringing it all
Man
the
from
way
Uncle.
back.
Man from Uncle, dude. I mean, he's an underrated character, but in this movie, you see him shine. He was fucking amazing. Like, this is my favorite role of Henry Cavill.
Well,
Really?
It was like a
Yeah.
completely different role from what you usually see
I didn't
him
think he was gonna be
as.
that good, honestly. I
Because
didn't
he
think
was
he was
funny
Gonna,
and stuff, too.
I didn't think he was gonna shine as much next to like Tom Cruise. I guess.
Yeah,
You know?
I
and he
see
did.
that.
He held his weight. So I mean, I loved him for it. And yeah, so I thought it was excellent overall. That's it. That's my spoiler free.
You're all right. Well,
Yeah.
Bailey, what do you think? Oh, by the way, Omar, Bailey, Tyler, Matt. That's us.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't
Oh,
say that.
hey! That's all of us. I loved this movie. And the funny thing is, going into it, I had such high expectations already, which kind of sucks when you go into movies like that, just because most of the time you end up getting a little let down. But this actually exceeded my expectations.
Fuck yeah.
I've loved like all the Mission Impossible movies for forever, and we all just rewatched them all, and I think all of us have enjoyed them so much. But seeing, it's just crazy to me how a franchise that like was dying off could, well, not even really dying off, because like the last 4 movies were fantastic too, but like I don't know. You just don't expect them to come out with this,
I
and
feel
it
like they up it
completely.
every time.
They did, and
It's
that's what's
fucking
so
crazy,
amazing
yeah.
about it. Like this movie was completely
Right.
everything that I wanted and everything I expected.
It was
and
excellent, dude. Yeah.
Tom, I'm telling you, that man. First of all, I'm pretty sure he is immortal. Like I don't think he will actually ever die. Which is a little
was pretty close in the
terrifying.
fucking movie.
But like this was, and I love Tom Cruise, so I've loved him like for forever. But this is like one of my favorite movies I've ever seen him in, and he's got so many great movies. But this, like, I don't know, just the way he was in this movie, and
Yeah.
you say like Henry Cavill like stood with him, and like I kind of can see what you're saying, but I honestly think like. He stole like Tom
Well, of
Cruise
course. I mean, it's his
completely
movie,
steals
yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
Which right, it's his
absolutely.
movie,
Yeah.
but it's just so hard. And props to like all the actors that were
Supporting,
with him,
yeah.
right? Because they like held their own,
Right.
But it's just I don't know. It's
Oh, of course. I mean, he's always gonna steal the
Ethan
show.
Hunt, man. I mean,
Right,
he's amazing.
right.
But I
Last
that
second
and
man.
like all the fight sequences and everything in this movie, like the choreography was amazing and the music was amazing, the score and everything. Oh my god, I loved it. I've been
wanna
listening
say
to it
this,
all day.
And I'm sure you guys have noticed, like in every single fucking movie, he's always got like a scene where he's just running. full
Oh
speed.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically a
fucking love
staple
that,
of
dude.
him now.
It's his thing, and I love that so much.
And he does it so well. So
He does it so like it's inspiring.
God,
I
he's
love
so
it.
freaking athletic. It's
Oh,
like
so much,
insane.
yeah.
But anyway,
you can
so,
tell.
yeah.
Wait, he injured himself on set for this movie.
Oh, you can see the
He
part
broke
where it
exactly
happens.
right
Well, like-
when he jumps over the roof. Or
When he
whatever.
jumps on the
Yeah.
roof and he
He
gets
breaks
up
his
and he
ankle
fucking
and
his
then he
ankles.
can't walk,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
He's
100%
limping, and
because
that's,
he just broke his
him
ankle.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
which is crazy that they kept it in. I love that they
Yeah.
kept that in the movie. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah,
Oh,
that's
you
my
have to
take.
at that point.
Oh yeah.
Tyler, what'd you think?
Man, I thought it was incredible. I thought for sure, and maybe I'm just overhyped on it now, but I thought it was the best of all of them. I thought from up to this point, the third one was my favorite, but I think it brought everything I loved about the third one back to it, and then it connected it more to Rogue Nation and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I really liked it. I mean, what they were able to do with the big set pieces and all the action scenes, I can't tell what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah,
I think the
that's true.
majority of it was real.
Yeah, everything
I
looked
think,
real.
I think some of the helicopter stuff towards
Yeah,
the end
that
was a
would
little
be-
CGI.
yeah.
But I'm not even talking about the actual him flying it, but some of like when it was all falling apart
Right.
was. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the majority of it was real. It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how you make movies like that. I mean, it's definitely stellar filmmaking for what he was able to do. Ryan Johnson actually tweeted like, "What the fuck?" Like that. Like I don't know. Give that director the crown because it was fucking awesome. And the story was great. Henry Cavill was impeccable.
Yeah.
I thought because these movies kind of have a villain problem always a little bit. Besides the third one. And like Rogue Nation, the villain wasn't that great, but he's in this movie again, and he's great
he's
in
much
it.
better.
And Henry Cavill with him makes him better too. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this, like Tyler said, this one's my favorite, like, far and away. And going into it, I knew I was going to like it, but the third one was also my favorite. But just something about Philip Seymour Hoffman is just like,
Yeah.
Oh,
that,
God, he was so
again,
good.
like, these movies probably do have a villain problem. They're usually the weakest link, I think. But that movie, the third one, Philip Seymour Hoffman carried it. And then, again, with this one, it's like the villains just feel that much more, like, the stakes are higher. That's what I like when these movies do.
Yeah, and I feel like the third one was the one that tried to do the most character development with Ethan Hunt, and they kind of try to bring a lot of that back
Yeah.
into this one.
Oh, for sure.
So that's
His
why.
wife and
Well,
everything.
it's
Yeah.
kind of weird when we were watching the fourth and fifth one. Like, obviously, Tom Cruise is always the main character. It's always about Ethan Hunt. But I feel almost like, not that he took a backseat in those, but just by the time the movie ends, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I didn't spend as much time with him as I thought
Right.
maybe I would. And then this movie brought it back to that whole thing where it's like he really does feel like the center of this movie, and this is his story again, which I thought was really cool. Every single stunt in this movie was absolutely insane.
God, it was amazing.
Just knowing that all of it's real, or like the vast majority of it's real, just adds so much to it. Like, this is literally the pinnacle of like how good an action movie can be.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I think even more so because you go into it expecting to be entertained and have fun and to see really cool shit, but then the movie actually has these really deep parts to it, and I don't know. There's so much to this movie that you can really just take home and really enjoy. So,
Ving Rhames got me kind of emotional at one point too.
oh yeah, he did a few times actually that I can think of. God, yeah, I loved it. So what'd you guys think as far, like, obviously we're talking about like some of the crazy shit that happens, and we're going to stick with stuff that happened in the trailers again because we're not going into spoilers yet.
Right.
But how does it compare, I'd say, like, so you think of the crazy set pieces, like, even just thinking of the last three, because that's where they really upped it. So, like, 4, he's scaling a building. 5, he literally, am I right that when he's on the plane at the beginning of Rogue Nation,
actually
he's
doing
actually on the
that,
plane?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this one, you've got the skydiving and the helicopter. What do y'all, how does that stack up in y'all's books to, as far as crazy shit that Tom Cruise can get into?
I guess I don't want to say too much about the helicopter stuff just because it's at the end, but the stuff you see with the helicopter stuff, I mean, they did that whole thing where they explained, and you got to watch like a short video of how he literally learned how to fly a helicopter for this movie. So just like, I think with Ghost Protocol, the fact that he was scaling the side of a building and stuff, that's always like the most impressive to me, just because, I don't know, most people would never do anything like that ever, regardless if he's attached to things or
let
not.
alone like run full speed down the
Yeah,
building.
like jump
too.
out of a window and like run down the side of it. I just feel like that's like only crazy people do that. But I mean, the stunts in this movie were so well done and like well shot too, that it just like added so much to it. At least, I don't know. I think everything he does is so incredible with stunts.
Oh yeah, no, I
that
absolutely
I'm
agree.
always
And the
going to be
fact-
impressed.
And the fact that we saw it in IMAX, I mean, this is the movie to see in IMAX.
These
And-
Oh,
parts,
it's
and it's
perfect.
literally the two parts that we're talking about again that you see in the trailers with the helicopter and some of the skydiving stuff. But if you go see this movie in IMAX, it literally opens up during those parts and takes up the entire screen.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
And it's just so fucking cool to look at, and it just makes you wish, like, man, I wish more movies would shoot like not only in IMAX but shoot more of them in IMAX.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
the fucking bathroom fight was awesome too.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it
God,
was.
dude,
that
I
was
Yeah.
love
probably one of my favorite parts
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
whole
it was
movie.
awesome.
it was so cool. All right, so I feel like it's kind of hard to talk about this without going
It
into
is, I really
spoilers,
wanna
and it's
spoil.
probably been about 10 minutes anyway. So if you haven't seen this movie, I think we all, does everybody give it their thumbs up?
100.
Yeah,
Not to
Absolutely.
all agree with each other,
100.
but
Go see this movie.
I feel like, yeah, it's a really good movie. If you're invested in the series, definitely, obviously, you're going. I feel like even if you haven't seen it, this one's definitely the most connected, but at the same time, you'll get a lot out of it anyway, and I feel like maybe it'll make you want to go watch some of the other ones, especially because the last three have all been incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And even the ones before that are really good. So, like I said, just go see it, even if you haven't seen these movies, because I think you'll really enjoy it. Maybe you'll come back and then get more out of it after.
Also, go see it in IMAX.
definitely
It
see it
really
in
does
IMAX.
like change. I'm not sure because I didn't see the regular showing, obviously, but I mean, I
From
feel
what
like
we know, though, I think
it looked beautiful.
these are the kind
It
of
was
movies.
amazing.
Anytime you see a movie that's actually shot with IMAX cameras, those are the ones you want to go.
Oh yeah,
Because
meant for it.
they're not just upscaling it
Right.
to make more money off of you. They're literally the people, like the filmmakers, obviously had an intent with that, and it really shows in the movie.
yeah.
Especially if you're into visual cool shit like that. I mean, some of these shots during those IMAX sequences are some of my favorite stuff I've seen in a movie that I can even remember. But yeah, so definitely go see it. But again, if you haven't seen it, we hate to lose you, but don't listen to the
Like,
rest of this
bye, yeah.
this is something you don't want spoiled for you. All right, so this is your official spoiler warning. We're gonna jump into it. What do y'all like? Spoilers. Spoilers.
The lightning strike.
I know. I was gonna say, what do
Oh
we
my
do?
God.
Do we do anything like the big? I don't know. Like,
A big clap. Summon them away.
but,
yeah.
Okay, so dive in, someone.
Yeah.
Or me.
The lightning strike.
lightning
the fucking.
strike. Dude.
How
I,
crazy
I,
is
I,
that?
that part.
I out loud was like,
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it coming. I don't know. Well,
it
I mean,
was
I don't
the
know.
effect that like when it hit them and,
And it
like
went
it all
silent.
It goes completely
it went
silent.
I was
Dude,
just
so
like, what
much.
the
It went
fuck?
silent, and for some reason, it's. I mean, of course, it's supposed to look real, but it looked like
Real.
they actually
Yeah.
got hit by
Yeah,
lightning.
yeah. Dude, I loved it. And then you see Henry Cavill just free falling.
He's just like passed out the whole time, and then when they land, and he's like, "Oh, I see you lost your oxygen
Dude, that was so
tank."
funny. Yeah.
What did he do to Tom Cruise before they jumped off?
He pulled out his
Why did he do that?
Because he was just being a dick.
Because it full on seemed like he was fucking turning on him at that point, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Well,
this
yeah,
is
that was the thing. He was just being a dick about
It
it.
was like
Yeah.
a get out my way type.
Right.
because
Yes.
it's just kind of crazy. Because then when they landed, I expect Tom Cruise to be like, "What the fuck, man?" But
Yeah,
they were
like,
just kind of like
you
going
yanked
about
my
it.
oxygen out and then dove out of the plane.
I was
and
a
then
little
I
bit
had to
confused
save
because
you.
obviously you get the whole thing before that where you find out Henry Cavill's basically. I mean, you don't know he's like evil at this point or anything like that, but he's got his own agenda with this mission and stuff.
Right.
And so when that happened, I was like, "Oh fuck,
Well, it's 'cause
this is
at that
already
point-
happening."
At that point, Tom Cruise was pretty much like, "I'm not gonna jump. There's thunder or whatever or lightning, so
Mm-hmm.
let's just wait." And he was like, "Fuck this, I'm gonna go." And he was like, she said, just kind of like,
Right, just fucking
Whatever,
fuck
yeah.
you, Tom.
It was just stupid that
He's
he
being a
was.
dick.
He just like pulled out his tube or whatever,
his too.
and then Tom had to save him.
Yep.
I keep calling him Tom. His name's
Tom.
Ethan. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. Like throughout the whole movie, I kept thinking like Henry Cavill was invincible. I don't know, just the
because
fact
of
that,
how
I mean,
large he
he's
is.
so large and
No.
fucking
He's so-
menacing.
Oh, you guys are stupid. No, because he's Superman.
Well, that's stupid. No,
That's
I'm
not
kidding.
stupid though. I don't know. I just that's what most people know, man.
That's what's so great though about this movie. Like, I didn't think of Superman at all.
Really?
Yeah,
You didn't?
I didn't
See,
actually.
I did.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I
I
didn't.
liked Henry Cavill a lot in this movie, and I think he gave everything that he needs to. But for some reason, and maybe I just haven't seen him in enough things. But it's like
He's
I
not
can't.
in a lot,
That's the
though.
thing.
He's
I
not.
can't shake Superman from it.
You
So there were
can't?
times
Well,
where it was like a
yeah.
little bit
Yeah, I've
strange.
seen all of his movies, so that's why
Uh-huh.
I'm saying like I feel like he's underrated or whatever. But yeah,
Right.
if the only thing you've seen is like Man of Steel or whatever, yeah, I mean absolutely.
The
That-
thing is, I think he can do what directors want him to do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think he gets brought on to play a very specific role because that's something
Yeah.
I noticed in it too. Like again, he nailed what he was there to do.
Right.
But I feel like his performance doesn't exactly show me like, oh, this guy could do anything.
Like,
you know
he
what I mean? I
doesn't have
can't
a lot of
see
range.
him. Right, exactly. I think he's got like he can do a few different things, but I feel like it's not the scope of like, oh, I could see him doing like some really weird movie. And I hope he proves me wrong because I love him.
Well, that's
But-
the thing. Like, I guess in the beginning, I did. So I guess I'm lying, but in the beginning,
What
it's
a
like
liar.
you kind of see like get Superman vibes just because he's pretty much like a character that's by the book. Like he does what
Right.
he's told. He
And his
follows the
morals and
rules.
stuff,
Like
yeah.
he has morals.
Right.
I definitely
and
liked him
then
more
you
in the
see
second
like
half.
the change happen
Exactly.
eventually, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
Well, he's really funny throughout the movie too.
he
Yeah.
is, but I feel like he's so stiff.
Yeah, no, that's
At
100%
first-
what I
at
think
first that's how
too.
it felt.
Well, some of his line delivery at the beginning too, I was like,
Oh,
this
in the
is kind of
beginning.
stiff.
In the beginning,
like when
I
they're
was
talking
like,
on the
fuck,
plane,
man.
I was
Yeah,
like, I don't know if I'm really feeling
exactly.
this. But like y'all are saying, I think the second half of the movie, I
Oh,
was
absolutely.
definitely way more on
I
board
think
with him
it's
because
it was him like putting on a show.
And
right, and he does reach that point where like, oh, he is kind of terrifying, and then the
Exactly.
all the shit that
the
happens.
laptop
Yeah.
to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I thought that dude was like fucking dead the second
Yeah, I
that
thought
I was
connected with
confused
his
'cause
head.
I was like, I know there's a fight scene that's about to happen, but this dude's like knocked out. So what's going on?
How funny was that too when they're all in the fucking stall?
Oh, yeah.
And then those guys are like just banging on the back of the stall. They start singing like La Vie en Rose when
Yeah.
they're walking out too. But
I was like almost shocked when he woke up though, because when he took that fucking briefcase to the head, I was like,
It-
dude, his neck's
Oh, yeah.
fucking snapped. It looks like they were
Yeah.
just like holding,
Yeah.
like they were holding his head up to scan him, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But it looked like they were holding his head up because like this entire part of, if you can't see me, obviously, but I'm like touching my chest because I think that entire part was just fucking snapped
Yeah,
off
it
of this
looked-
man's body.
I mean, the way Henry like hit him. What's his name in the character's Walker?
August-
in
yeah,
the
well, it's his
character.
last.
August Walker.
August
Yeah.
Walker.
They just call him
okay.
Walker though.
They call him right because I didn't know his first name was August, but the way he
August
like
Walker.
that
Swung.
entire bathroom fight,
Fuck
every
it.
time August / Walker / Henry went and punched someone, I was like, that person just died.
Right,
From
yeah,
that
just
one
the way he
punch.
was punching?
He's so large.
Yeah.
Like just seeing him walk up to you, I feel like I would immediately pass
I would just
out
be like,
in
dude, I'm
fear.
done.
Like no, like nothing's worth that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. But that entire like all and you see so much, not so much of the fight in the bathroom in the trailers, but you see like a good bit, and then the stuff you see that's not in the trailers is like choreographed so
Oh,
beautifully.
absolutely.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was probably one of the best fight scenes I've ever.
I was gonna
seen
say
in an
everything
action
that happens in
movie.
that bathroom fight, and it's even stuff that they don't show in the trailers.
It's just
like,
fucking
It
wild.
really is choreographed
Yeah.
so well.
Oh,
Because in the trailers they do a good job of queuing it up to the music that they're
Right.
playing,
Yeah.
the Mission Impossible theme or whatever.
Right.
But in like the actual choreography in that part's like actually like really crazy.
Jesus, that one part too where
Where
the
he
guy
flips him and
he
he's-
flips him through a mirror, and then he also
You'd be fucked up.
Oh
I
well,
mean,
yeah, and
fucking
then like
dead.
that one part where he backs like the guy they're fighting up in the corner, and Henry just like starts doing like these random combos
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
him, and like the way he was punching him,
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, wow.
I just like killed myself. But the way he was punching him and everything, it's funny because Henry like stole the show for that, like
Yeah.
for that fight. Like
Well,
you
yeah.
don't even pay attention to like Tom Cruise in that
Right.
part, just
Yeah.
because
Because
of
he's
like
getting
how
his
cool
ass
it was.
handed to him.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah. Henry was too.
well, yeah, they end up losing. Well, kind of, and then that
And
guy
they
gets shot.
find a way.
I love the way the movie starts off too when they're trying to find out where the plutonium is with that guy that they make him look like he got in a car accident or whatever, and then they're
Right.
like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
they're
Oh,
like, you
great.
got in a car
Oh.
accident an hour ago, and then Simon Pegg's like, I'm the one that hit you.
That too, the whole opening scene, because they always do cool opening scenes
Yeah.
in Mission Impossible, but this one was done.
It was
I-
stretched out.
It was very long.
Because to be honest, the very beginning of this movie, not that I wasn't on board because I obviously have been super excited for the movie. I'm not going to judge it like 5 minutes in, but I did
Right.
think compared to the way some of the like the last movie starts with him fucking like hanging onto a plane as it takes
Yeah.
off. This one's just him kind of waking up in a tunnel and then like immediately getting his mission.
Yeah,
and he's by
it's
himself.
Very quick to the mission part,
Right.
And then
you don't get like this like Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt like reveal. It's literally
Right.
like the movie starts and you're on him, and then you get the by the books Mission Impossible. You get mission, choose to accept it, whatever. You know
guess
what I mean?
He did. He accepted
yeah.
it.
They also brought that up like 3 different. Like they
Yeah.
repeated that line probably 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, they
Well,
did.
the villain also said like, I bet you never have not accepted
Yeah.
it or whatever.
But I think that was really cool too. How at first I thought the same thing. I was like, man, they just drug this out so long, like longer than any other opening for Mission Impossible. But like as I started thinking when we were watching the movie, I like how it went straight to like you don't have to introduce him anymore. Everyone knows who Ethan Hunt
Exactly.
is. Everyone like fully expects him to accept the mission kind of thing. So I think it was really cool with that and seeing the dynamic too that he still has with like Luther and Simon Pegg's character. I can't remember his name right now. Benji. Their dynamic and like how well they work together, but like you said, it was way more like highlighting Tom Cruise's character.
Right.
Or, like,
it was
Ethan
like
Hunt
his
than it-
movie this time
Right.
around, which was cool.
And he pretty much is just trying to save everybody,
Right.
but he can't. And then they let the bombs go.
All the car chase and motorcycle stuff was really good too.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that too because I feel like we'd be very remiss to not, because we've talked a little bit right after we saw this movie about comparisons that we've made. As far as the score, I think this movie reminds us, a lot of us, so much of like The Dark Knight
Dark Knight
Rises,
Rises.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think is impossible to shake. But there are a lot of parts of this movie that remind me of The Dark Knight too. Namely, like when they are in
transporting
the transport. I
yeah.
think that whole entire, even as far as like the FBI like truck or whatever vehicle like getting pushed into the water
Yeah.
that happens in The Dark Knight. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be super shocked if like.
There-
None of that was taken
There
from.
is no way this movie was not inspired by the Nolan movies.
Which
There's no fucking
I
way.
love because it gives me vibes of kind of thinking of like Skyfall, which I also thought when that movie came out, like this is super inspired by The Dark Knight, and I feel like this movie very much is like the Skyfall of the Mission Impossible movies, which I think is really
I
cool.
can see that.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it.
I mean, the score was like beat for beat,
Dude, I love
just
the
like
score.
Rises.
Yeah.
the
Like,
score is great.
when the movie started, I literally leaned over to Nick and was like, "Does this sound like The Dark Knight
It's like,
Rises?"
Yeah, that whole part, it's amazing. And the car chase scenes and everything, it was way less like Fast and Furious this time and way more like a spy movie, which I just, it made it seem more intense. It wasn't just like for fun. It was
Right.
like you really didn't know how it was going to end, which I
Yeah.
super enjoyed that too. And they introduced Ilsa. That's her name, I think.
Is
in
that the girl
movie.
from the last one?
Yeah,
Okay,
she's
yeah.
from Rogue Nation.
Oh yeah, Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, I think her name, or her character's name is
I
Elsa.
think so, yeah.
But she's the one that like shoots the dude that they're trying to copy his face, and then she like
no,
shoots him
yeah.
in the face, and they can't do it.
It's like, oh, we're fucked.
But all of her motorcycle stuff, like throughout all the chase scenes, was super cool
Uh-huh.
too. I loved
Yeah.
that.
You know what I read online too, which I didn't catch this in the movie because I guess I just wasn't paying attention enough. But the girl that Tom Cruise meets, the White Widow or whatever, her name
yeah,
is,
I couldn't remember if it's a white witch.
She's the daughter
but in a
of-
fucking
White
church.
she's the
whatever.
daughter of the arms dealer in the first one named Max or whatever her name is, that older woman that's like the main villain. You probably don't even remember.
And the
like
first
in the
one?
actress
Yeah.
too.
Oh, the one.
No, in the
The one
movie?
they meet in like it's.
like in the storyline, she's like, supposed to be the daughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
That's
say
so
that.
weird.
I guess I read it on the internet, and apparently
Yeah,
she
I feel
is
like I never would have connected
because
that.
I don't. Maybe it had to do
Yeah.
with her last name or something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
And-
if you're paying attention to the
and we
first one,
probably
then yeah.
and the first one was kind of forgettable.
Yeah, a
so
little
that
bit.
could be why.
I do. The funny thing is, though, I remember the part you're talking about really well
Yeah.
from the first one. So, but I guess it's just like I don't know. I never would have connected those two things. I did like the brother though. I thought he was stupid.
Oh yeah,
He was
I
funny.
did too,
He
yeah.
was like fun and stupid.
I liked all the parts with them too. I expected them to go back to it before like the very ending of the movie too. Like obviously they connect at the end where they're like, oh, we're gonna pass off.
They literally just shove him.
yeah,
in the
just in the
trunk.
trunk,
Again, the villain.
and she takes him. But I thought maybe they'd go back to her before that, but it didn't. It's not like it affected the movie at all.
yeah, no, I feel like they put that all in. It
think-
was such a B plot.
Just the
to
only
it.
thing you find out is like she's part of the CIA or whatever, or that she works.
Well, she's
with
like
them.
working with the
Right,
CIA
right.
pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. Which brings you back to I keep forgetting that Angela Bassett was even in this movie because
Yeah.
they made it seem like she was gonna have such a big part, but she wasn't. She was in it. She was on
Like,
a
barely
phone
at all.
call at some point.
God,
and
what a
that's
bitch
about
too.
it. God, yeah. Oh man, and Alec
Her character,
Baldwin.
obviously.
Oh yeah.
Alec Baldwin being in it.
R.I.P. Man.
Yeah,
I loved him in this one.
I did
though.
too, dude.
I mean,
I actually
not
kinda
that I
felt
didn't
sad
like
when
him in
he,
the other ones, but
No, I mean Alec Baldwin's like such a presence to be in a movie
Yeah.
too. Like, and I always laugh at Alec Baldwin. I think even when he's not
He's
trying to be funny,
hilarious.
it's just his delivery of everything
He's
is
always
always the
yelling.
same, and he's always moving his head when he says
moves
anything.
His head so much
So
when he talks.
it's really fucking funny. Little bum that he's dead. I thought they did his death really well, but
Yeah.
it only bums me out in the sense that I would assume this movie's gonna make so much money and they're gonna make another one. And
not
I would
gonna
love
see
to
him
see him
again.
pop up for the 10 minutes of screen time that he gets again, but he's that won't happen. But going toe to toe with Henry Cavill and getting a few good hits in. What a
God,
way to
that
go.
was so unrealistic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe that happened.
The fact that they made it seem like
I don't know,
that-
because Henry Cavill's kind of getting his ass kicked in the bathroom scene too. So like,
Well, that dude is a fighter.
That
I
dude
know,
was
but-
clearly trained as
Yeah.
hell.
do we know for a fact that Alec Baldwin's not trained in
He's
any
not
way?
that,
to,
but he's much older. You can tell he's
Well,
slower.
even
well, yeah, but if he's got training, I
older,
feel
he's
like
flabby.
it's feasible
Yeah.
to say like
Flabby.
he could get a few good hits in at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I liked about Henry Cavill's character though, because I feel like as menacing and terrifying as he wasn't like this be all end all. Like you can't touch him. Like
Right,
he would
no,
get his
absolutely,
ass
yeah.
kicked a little bit and
Oh, yeah.
fucking at the end of the movie, which we should kind of transition to because we're getting in there in time. But like at the end of the movie when he's getting fucking sprayed in the face with the fucking hot oil
Oh
or
my
whatever from
God.
the
God.
helicopter, and then the final scene in this movie is like half his face
Dark
melted
Knight,
off.
man.
Yeah.
Dark
Yeah,
Knight.
there you go.
Yeah, I was thinking.
But no, just really cool and just adds to this whole thing. Like he's terrifying, but he's like vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he
which
can
it
be-
just makes it way more realistic, which is awesome because
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
they always try and in all these kind of movies they make the villains seem like so powerful that there's
and
nothing
like
that
you
can
can't
bring
touch
them
them, yeah.
down, kind of thing. And it's like they always end up brought down at the end anyway.
Right.
So obviously they're.
Yeah.
It's like they can't be so strong throughout the entire movie, and then at the very end, you, like crumble.
Exactly.
So
I don't know, dude. I really liked Henry. I guess I was expecting Henry Cavill. I wasn't thinking too much of, would he possibly be a villain or whatever. I was just thinking maybe he'd be like a sidekick kind of thing. And I didn't think he was not that he outshined Tom Cruise, but
I just thought he was a really good villain.
yeah, I mean, I
think
thought
he was
amazing,
too.
dude. I
he
didn't
was
think
the better
gonna be.
villain in my opinion.
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely.
No, he definitely was.
So-
I
I'm
mean,
glad they brought back old dude from
Old dude.
old dude from
from
Five.
Rogue. And I think he did his purpose for the movie was like a great
Uh-huh.
part
And
of
he's
it.
more terrifying in this movie too, because in Five it was more about him outsmarting Tom Cruise, but in
Right.
this movie it was literally like,
He's
oh,
like-
this is like an evil son of a
Like,
bitch who's
he is-
actually kind of fucking terrifying.
The whole thing they kept saying over and over again, something about more
Oh.
pain brings more peace or
Yeah.
something along
Yeah.
the lines of that.
Yeah.
It's just like
The longer
shit.
the-
That's
or
a
some, yeah.
a really strange
And
way
had a
to
time
bring
for
that
his
up.
his ex-wife to be there for
Yeah.
when the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
bomb
yeah.
goes
Oh,
off.
I know. I was gonna say, what do y'all? How do y'all
That's
feel
also
about her
fucking
coming
so
back?
Dark Knight-y.
Yeah,
Like,
it definitely
I don't
is. And I thought that was cool too. And it is kind of like jarring because like she's obviously in 3 a lot, and you see a little bit of her in Ghost Protocol, and then she's absent from 5 or whatever. But I really thought her part in this movie, because you see her in the trailers briefly, but I thought like it's just gonna be like a really quick cameo or something. But she really kind of had like a decent part in the end of this movie, and
It's closure.
it is. That's what I say. Like,
It was
even though she gets a
perfect,
decent amount of
too.
screen time at the end, like I feel like it's more about like again evolving Ethan Hunt's character, because
Yeah.
that does give closure to that, and because this whole time it is this awkward thing. Like, okay, they're not married anymore, but is he just always out there like thinking about her, which he is. But you kind of think about this thing like, yeah, so she's gone off and gotten married again, and she gives her whole thing about like she feels safer at night thinking about
Right.
him and whatever. And
I
but
think-
it really made you feel kind of bad for him too. But and I wasn't trying to say like she's kind of being selfish or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is like this thing like, okay, so she went off and got married, and obviously they had to do this. But so like she's happy in her life, and she says like, I'm where I'm supposed to be and you're where you're supposed to be. So where is he supposed to be?
Well, that's the
He's a
what
superhero.
But
Right,
that's what I'm
but-
saying. At the end of this movie, it more made me think like this is the first time you see him like finally feel happy. Like, and that's when Rebecca,
it literally ends with him laughing,
right,
which
and
I
that's
love.
when like Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa's character, like walks in and they kind of have like their connection. And I don't know, it just
Do y'all like them together?
I
though?
do actually.
For some reason, I don't, but
I think it works because she lives the same life he does.
it does.
I
That's what I'm
think-
saying. Like if they got together, it would be fine.
That's the only reason I like it, but
But-
I do feel like it's kind of forced.
I
don't
think
know.
it is
You
too.
could
Yeah.
make that argument.
I
At
definitely
the
think
same
it's
time,
forced.
though, I just feel like it's more of like they care for each other and they want to protect each other kind of thing. And they've been through so much that it's like it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I just want to see him happy, honestly.
Me too.
And that's
So
the
it-
thing at the end
Yeah.
of this movie. This is like the first time you see him ending
Right.
like with such a happy.
and his character has gotten, we all love his character so much now, and it's so believable that if you see in basically Tom Cruise's performance of all this that he is happy with her, then it would make pretty much everybody watching this happy, I think.
Right.
I also wanted to say, because these movies, and it's just such a trope with these things where like it ends like it always comes down to the last second, right? You know what I mean? Like in these kind of movies, it's always like, okay, we know they're gonna succeed, but like there's a clock somewhere and it's
Yeah.
ticking down to 0. I thought it was really cool in this movie that obviously, again, you've got a clock and it's ticking down to 0. And so they basically have to make the decision like, okay, is Ethan there? We can't talk to him. We just have to assume he's ready. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we don't know that he's done his part.
They were just like, you gotta
but
trust
we
him.
just have to do ours assuming that he has.
Yeah.
And it literally counts down and then everything goes white. obviously.
Dude, I
And
thought
you,
something
that's what I
happened.
was gonna say. The
Yeah.
great thing about that is it's such like a, and not to get like too fucking whatever here, but like what immediately hit me was like everybody watching this movie had to do the exact same thing as what they're doing. Like you're looking at this and everything's white and you don't know, did everything just blow
I
up?
held my breath.
Even when it comes back and he's on the mountain, he almost looks defeated for a second.
looks
And then when he just
defeated.
throws the remote, you get chills because it's like, yeah, we just had to trust him. That was
Yeah.
it. And he fucking did it.
And that's the thing, they make sure like his back is facing the camera and
Yeah.
everything, so you really have no idea. And then you turn around and he has like the thing in his mouth
Yeah.
that he like just like pulled it
Right.
out, and it was just the way they did that part.
That's
was
why I just
perfect.
because it's such a thing where it's like you expect that at these movies and they're always going to come down to that moment of tension and
yeah.
you know it's going to happen. But
It
I
is-
love the way they kind of nailed that moment in this one. I thought that was like one of my favorite parts of the whole thing.
what a good freaking movie.
It was so good. All right, we're gonna rate it now. We're gonna give it a score. So we're gonna start with Omar. What would you give this movie?
Oh fuck! Wait, can you guys skip me real quick?
Yeah, sure, Bailey. What
right.
would you give it? So give it a number rating out of 10, obviously, and then just say what number. You don't have to rate all the Mission Impossible movies, but just where does it rank
Okay.
for you?
Well, I would give it a 9.
Okay.
And I would give it number 1.
There you go.
Because I loved this movie and I think it did everything it needed to for Ethan Hunt's character. And it's like you see this character growing throughout all of these movies, and I don't know. I feel like the way they tied it in with what was it? Not Ghost Protocol, 3.
Yeah.
The way they tied it in with 3, because 3 was my number 1 before this, and they like tied it in really well, and they also made it to where you like gave a shit about every single character in this movie, even like Henry Cavill's character. Like you cared about him for some of it, and then he turned into a psycho. But I don't know, it's just the way this movie was filmed, the way they had the writing, the music, all of it. It's like every
yeah.
aspect of this movie hit
It comes
everything I
together so
wanted.
well,
It
yeah.
hit everything I wanted it to hit. So
Oh, nice.
what?
No, nice. That's
Oh,
good.
just like
Yeah.
in general. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, a 9.
Nope.
All right, Omar, we're coming back to you.
All right. So, ranking wise, it's my favorite. Number 3 was just like you guys, my favorite prior to this one, because of the villain, the plot, everything. With me, I really, really, really enjoyed Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, and yeah, they're great movies, but they're more to me like fun movies that I enjoyed. Yeah, they had their like awesome moments or whatever, but with this one I felt more like it was like a film, like I don't know, man, just so many aspects about it. I mean, I could talk about it for hours, but yeah, the music, the acting, the plot, everything. I mean, honestly, if they were to end it here,
It'd be fine.
I want it
I'd be more
to,
than
but I
fine.
know it's probably
yeah,
not
I
going
mean,
to.
they're probably gonna make another one. And I was talking to Zach, our friend, yesterday after the movie, and he
Shout
was
out.
saying, yeah, shout out. He was saying it'd be cool, like if they were to make another one, for them to write off Ethan Hunt's character like in a
Like,
way that he
retire
deserves.
him.
That's
Which,
what I think.
that's the only thing I'd want. Because I mean. Yeah, they could make another movie that's going to be just as fun or whatever, but I mean, this one was just perfect in my opinion. I mean, there's nothing I didn't feel like it dragged out. I can't complain about anything. I really can't. So, yeah, what do I rate it? 9.5. 9.5 out of
Nice.
10. Yeah.
See, I'd give this movie a 10.
There you go.
Nice.
I thought it was perfect. I think it's everything you want from a Mission Impossible movie and more. 3 was my favorite. It brings all that stuff back. It makes Rogue Nation a better movie. I don't know.
It does.
The score reminds me of The Dark Knight Rises. It's everything I fucking want from a movie. So 10 for me.
Nice.
And, yeah, I mean, I'd give it a 9.5. I thought it was absolutely great. It's my favorite movie of the Mission Impossible movies, which
yeah.
I didn't think was going to happen. I thought 3 was going to kind
Same.
of carry
Yeah,
the movie
same.
all the way through because I loved 3, but I think this one ups it for sure. And I'm the same way. Like, it could be the end, and it wouldn't be a bad thing if it was the end because you want to end on a high note, and this was like the fucking
Right.
high note. But if they come back, I do
How do they
really
top it?
They can't
That's-
top it.
I don't think it's possible.
And I feel this becomes such like a thing to say now with movies, but I would like if they come back and they do something like Logan-esque with this, and they just
Yeah.
they won't make it more like higher stakes and more like just crazy action stuff. But if they come back and make maybe a quieter movie that is literally just about his character finally maybe having one more thing, going through a sort of dark thing, and then being done with everything, I would be on board with that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of want because I think they can't one up it.
Right.
They can't, and they could probably make another movie as big as this that's not as good, but could maybe be on par with it, maybe a little bit lower. But you do eventually, it's the point where this man is fucking gonna turn 60 at some point, and then it does get to this point where he's breaking his ankles right now.
Yeah.
So how much more
And that's
do
why
we want to put
that's why
Tom
I say
Cruise
it's
through?
a 10 because I just don't see how they could ever top it.
I don't think they could
Honestly,
top
don't.
It has some of the tropes of the other ones where like the plot in and of itself is nuclear, but
Yeah.
there's so many twists and turns
Yeah.
that like I don't
Yeah.
care.
It's-
It's fucking awesome.
Well, you're going
It's
to this
also what
movie
else do you
to see,
expect from it,
right? You're
kind of
going to this
thing.
movie to see that kind of movie, and again,
Yeah.
like, so there are people this movie's not for. If you're super into movies in the sense where like you don't want to see these big budget action
Dude.
movies, I still think this is way better.
97 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know, well, yeah, for sure.
That's nuts.
It's great. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is what this kind of movie like strives to achieve. It's as good as it gets, and even better than that, because it's got just other things from movies that are built into it too. So,
Right.
that's like it isn't for everyone in the sense that people that aren't going to enjoy those movies that just have to find something wrong with it. But I think the vast majority of people are going to say this was fucking fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really
And if you're gonna
great
watch
movie.
it, do yourself a favor. IMAX.
IMAX, 100%.
Deserves it.
IMAX, I tell you what, they
100%
should be
IMAX.
fucking paying us money.
It should
how
only
much
be
we're
IMAX.
telling them now. Telling everybody to go see
Spokespeople
this.
for IMAX.
We really are. But yeah, so that's our Mission Impossible Fallout review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Our episode at 16 of the weekly show will probably be dropping at the same time as this one. So if you haven't listened to it, check it out. We at the beginning of the episode, we told you all the different ways you can find us, and we hope that you do. Subscribe on iTunes, leave a review,
Like us.
like us,
Share
love
us.
us,
Yeah, love us.
love us. All right, until next time, signing off.
Mission accomplished.
Oh.